Hi. When I was in my early 20s, I started to get jowls on both sides a little bit, so I grew a goatee to cover it up to make it look like, for back then, for being a kid, I thought it was jowls, but it may not have been that bad, how the other kids thought I looked. So the way I strengthen my neck and why I don't have a saggy neck at this age, it might be a little fat, and it's not saggy at all. It's never gotten saggy. Hi, Krista. I was telling Krista and everyone about this. Here's the thing that I did. I'll just tell you, Krista. I'm not going to show this to anyone else because I don't want to tell anyone else. Here's what I did. You press on the side of your neck and do this, like as hard as you can, and visualize it shaping your jaw and neck. And it doesn't give you those big tendons in there. It doesn't do any of that at all. It makes it look young, and it only strengthens the muscle, and it makes it look better. A stupid thing showed up on my phone. And you do this as hard as you can, and then you do the other side. I haven't had to do it for like 10 years or 15 years. And the thing that I do to keep my neck in shape now is I work out with weights, with strength training. And while I'm working out with the weights as hard as I can, or in a way that I studied it to do it carefully so it helps the body, not hurts the body, to, at a moderate way, or starting out working with weights, and then you do your best. You work out with the weights as hard as you can, and you visualize in your mind how you want your body to look and the muscles that you're working on, your stomach, how you want your stomach to look, or various parts in your body. And you use the strength training, and you can even try to make your face look better too. But I didn't always do that. I just did it in a way that it would make my face look younger and better, instead of those people who strain their face really hard and they have veins in it and stuff like really hard. When people would associate that with weights, I looked at it in a good way instead. And I was able to strengthen my legs, tendons, joints, everything about my body's physical health got way better and healthier and younger looking and better from strength training. I may not be in the best shape right now. I'm in okay shape. Actually, I can run, lift weights. I'm okay. I don't really run that often unless I get light enough, because that's high impact and it hurts the knees. And this is another thing about that I like to help Krista with. Hi, Krista. It's really me. I didn't get to see you. Hi. It's actually me. It's not just some stupid video that you always see. I should have gone there in real life so you can see how I really am instead of dumb video. The other thing is that most people in their 70s, their legs will start to deteriorate in their 70s. And it's really sad about Dad. And so there's only two ways that your legs won't start to deteriorate in your 70s. Either you're in the small percentage of people, maybe 20%. These stupid pop-ups keep showing up on my phone. You're either in the small percentage of people who are in the 20% who don't have to work out with weights, and their legs will keep being good well into old age. That's only about 20% of people, maybe 24% of people, or something like that. And the rest of everyone is going to have to study how to get into strength training and weight training. You can never look too strong if you're a female. You just can't get strong enough unless you do steroids. That's a non-true thing. Those really strong women have taken steroids, anabolic steroids that are illegal. That's the only way they get that look. You can't, as a woman, get too much muscle unless you take steroids. It's just how it is. That's how it is. It's just how it is. And lifting lighter ones and doing it in the wrong form and stuff could hurt your joints and shoulders and legs. You have to do it properly. Like I chose these that are soft. These are soft. These are like rough. These are soft instead of big metal ones. And it feels better to do. I don't usually go up to these because these are a little too heavy for me. I did the other day, but I'm not really strong enough yet if I ever will be. But I do these to warm up and these. But even these that are made of metal may somehow give you the illusion like it's like hurting your joints, or not joints, but I don't know, it's just metal. It looks too hard, like it would hurt. And you have to use ones that you're used to using and comfortable using and like to use. And you put them in a place in your house, like right here, where it's easy to get to, and you can turn on music if you want, somewhere where it's easy to do it, like right when you get the motivation, when you're like, you get really happy feeling or something like that in your house, and you can do it right then. You don't have to get all ready. You don't have to like drive all the way to the gym or something like that. You don't have to do any of that. And you don't have to do any of that unless you like going to a gym. And then you just keep them somewhere in your house. Like I've been working out in my house since my 20s. It was after I had that hernia and I got really weak, and I found no matter how much I starved myself, I didn't look good enough. It looked like kind of fat and a loose skin, even though I was really skinny. I was like 125 pounds or something like that, and one of my legs atrophied, and I had been in bed for 9 months. And so I found that the only way to get stronger was to eat more food, because my butt looked hollow and my shoulders, I don't look that way anymore. I've already built up the muscle. The muscle doesn't go away once you start working out with weights. It doesn't generally go away unless somebody got cancer or got really skinny for some reason. So it's generally going to be okay. Oh, and it reduces cancer by 40%. That's a general that's a general number. Reduces cancer by 40%. Strength training. If you get really into strength training, you have to do it carefully. You have to study how to not get hurt and how to do it right and how to get really good at it. It way reduces cancer. It makes it so people don't really get cancer too. It's really healthy for the body. Strength training. Pretty much all I use is this and these lighter ones to warm up, and then I do these, and I do legs too. My legs are pretty strong. But, you can't get super strong unless you do steroids. But a guy can kind of get super strong because he's a man and they just have natural more muscle. It's almost impossible for a woman to get too strong. They just don't really get too strong almost ever. They don't have the genes for it. They may think that in their mind, but it's not really that strong. If they get really into working out, they can look kind of strong, but it's not going to look too strong. It's not going to look stupid and too strong like those steroids women who look like a man. It's not going to look bad or stupid. And it's always helpful. And it's way easy to keep in shape when you do strength training, because you don't have to spend 20 minutes working out on a treadmill or jogging or doing that endurance exercise that no one keeps up with. They just end up quitting as they get older. And so that's going to make their legs weak and skinny, and then their legs will start to fail when they're in the 70s, unless they do strength training or unless they have the unlikely genetics, the maybe not 28% of them, more like 20% of people can have good, strong legs as they get into their 70s. The rest of them are going to deteriorate unless they do strength training to build up their muscle, and it strengthens everything, the tendons, joints, everything. Their entire body is way healthier when you do strength training. So these are like a little too heavy. Like I've still been getting like a slight bit of pain if I do, not really pain, but just like it pulls a little too. I'm not as comfortable with those, but I'm comfortable with these, and I worked up to being able to use these to do various workouts. And you do like reps of each one that you can do, and you have to study how to do it and sets. You do reps and sets, like you do curls, like you do 10 or 12, like you do however many reps and sets. But see, the thing is, I've been working really hard at getting Dad to get into strength training, and because he didn't work out with weights when he was younger, he has to go on a workout bike that's low impact on the knees. That's one way you can strengthen your legs as you get older, is a workout bike or a real bike. and you have to be careful not to fall off if it's a real bike. I don't know why he wouldn't ride a bike. I don't understand why. But that's a way to strengthen the legs that's low impact. It doesn't hurt the knees. Walking up steps is a little bit considered high impact, oddly enough, just walking up steps. But you kind of have to do that to strengthen your legs as you're younger if you want to be able to do that as you're older. And it doesn't hurt them to walk up steps when you're younger, in your 40s or maybe 50s or 60s. But I was worried about your legs too, because you're kind of like dad. You have the same habits as dad. You're very close to dad, and the strength training makes everything way better. And I was going to tell you in real life, and I didn't get the chance to. And one time I lost my patience and started to tell you, and it was awful. And I told you the wrong thing, and it was too late. And I was mean. It was like telling a fat person, like when you want to try to help them to be get in really good shape and motivate them to be in like super good shape and lose 100 pounds or 40 pounds or something. I've helped so many people do that. I helped Stefan become an athlete again. I helped all these people. This guy, Shay Tards, he's a famous guy who was fat and heavy. And I sent him a huge, long motivational thing, and he lost all this weight. And then if I got it a little bit wrong and said some mean thing like, oh, you're fat or something, started off that way, it ruined it. And they didn't get skinny. Like I did that with Kevin Smith one time. This was sad. I stood up for him a bunch, but then he wouldn't write back. And I said this really big mean thing to him. And then he just didn't lose weight, and he ended up getting a heart attack. And then he lost weight from walking. But I could have motivated him to do strength training. It's not too late for you. I just said a small thing that wasn't that mean one time when I was at your house. And then after that, instead of doing the strength training and the stuff that you can do now, it's not too late because I wasn't that mean. But you can do the strength training now, and then your legs will be okay. And swimming is another low impact exercise. And you don't want to bang down on your knees when you're like running. You don't want to run or jog if you're too heavy. And it's unlikely. You don't pretty much don't ever really want to run or jog. Today, all the fitness professionals use strength training pretty much. Some of them run or jog if they're very skinny, but usually you can't as you get older unless those people are really skinny. And it's crazy to be that skinny. I don't know how they do, because hardly any of them are able to stay that skinny. So you have to do strength training. And I've told Dad, I got him 2 or 3 workout bikes. Now he has a good quality one that I got from Amazon. And I got him 2 other ones that were like off the side of the road, but they're good. They worked. And I brought them to his house. And now I got him one on Amazon. And then he has to do those workouts and stuff so that so his legs are strong enough, because at his age, he just didn't work out after he started hurting his legs with the running too much. And and it's almost impossible to make running your main workout as people get older. They're not going to be skinny enough to be able to just do that. They have to be way skinny. It's unlikely. It's almost impossible. So it's easier to stay in shape when you work out with weights, and then you can eat more food like protein and stuff. But and fast. It's easier to fast and have water and not eat. But I may not look the best right now, but sometimes I do. But like my neck looks kind of fat in this video. It's not that bad, but you can tell there's no loose skin on it. It's not saggy skin. So I made this video for my sister Krista, and I'm only sending it to you, Krista. Hi, I'm not going to put this on my channel or anything like that. It's really me talking. So it's weird because I should have seen you in real life. Then you can see all my flaws and how I really am and stuff. And, I'm not like the person who tries to look perfect in my videos all the time, how I usually tried to do. Like I tried to look like I looked really good all the time in my videos. So it's hard to tell in a video how I really am. But this, I think you can kind of tell. So this is a video for Krista. And I'll show it to Taza too. But Taza has muscle in her legs, but unless she gets more athletic, I worry about her too with her health. I helped her so her foot wasn't hurt anymore. When her foot was hurt when she was walking too much, and I told her you can't walk. Anyway, don't worry about Taza. So I'll talk to her about something else. But you should really get into strength training. I can get you weights like newer ones like these on Amazon, or you can get them on Amazon. They deliver them right to your door. So it's pretty good to have them somewhere in the house. And I have this bench. I have a weight bench, and I can do various workouts with the stuff. And it's for men and women, and kids can do it too, but they don't really need to. You know, their muscle isn't going to start deteriorating. They don't really need to, but they can if they want to work out carefully or not. It's up to their mom and dad, and their mom and dad have to study. Their mom and dad have to study how to do it. Like, I don't know why Maya would do that. But many women nowadays they have really strong legs, and it doesn't look too strong. No matter how strong they get, no matter how much many weight, how heavy they lift, their legs don't get too strong, and it doesn't hurt the hips. It doesn't hurt the knees. When you do it properly and you study how to do it properly, you start light and work up heavier. That's the same day you work out. You start like say like I was going to work out today, as an example. If this wasn't too hard, if this wasn't too metal that would hurt somebody, you start really light, then you work up to this, then you work up to that in the same day, like with the workouts that you do. And there are 3 muscle groups. There's biceps. There's biceps and back. That's one. Biceps and back. That's for pulling exercises, like pulling down, pull-ups, curls, pulling back, like one-armed rows. That's all the pulling exercises. That does biceps and your back muscles, and you have to do back muscles. You have to do back muscles and biceps, or your back is, unless you're like Dad, who had a really strong back genetically. It was a miracle. He had a strong back genetically. He's one of the few people who didn't have to work out his back, and he has a strong back. It's pretty good. And he hasn't hurt his back either. It's pretty amazing. So but I had to build up the muscle in my back, but not the fat. And then that's one exercise, is pulling. Then there's pushing. I wouldn't punch anybody, but there's pushing. That's bench press or push-ups. That's like push-ups. When people do push-ups on the ground, when they do push-ups, that's pushing exercise. That does the chest, and that really helps the neck get into shape. Push-ups helps the neck, like when you're visualizing, like it makes your neck wider and stronger, and it doesn't ever get too wide or too strong. That's not true. It can never get too wide or too strong. Those are for people who do steroids. It can never get that strong. Look at me right now. If I worked out as much as I could, as heavy as I could possibly go, and gained 80 pounds of muscle or something like that, and still I just look normal. It's not going to look too strong. It just can't. And I'm a guy. If I was a girl, I'd have 30 or 40 pounds. I have 40 pounds of muscle less, or something like that, or 30 or 40 pounds muscle less if I was a girl. But I may have stronger legs. They have really strong legs, or potentially really strong legs. But you don't want to hurt your hips, so you have to do it carefully. And once you start building your legs, your tendons, your bones and joints and everything will get way stronger if you do it carefully. And you can live way longer, and your legs won't get hurt as you get older, because when they're weaker, they're like more prone to injury and get deteriorated, and you can't, like when they're in their 70s, like you won't get that, because hopefully you build up your legs. But Mom somehow hasn't gotten weak legs. She has genetics for good legs that are kind of strong. I don't know if it's because she stands up on her toes and does stuff like that and gardens, and she uses her leg muscles. I think it's that, and genetics. Genetics. And so I'm not going to put this on my channel. This is for Krista. So if mom keeps that up, she should be okay if she doesn't get other things wrong with her into her 90s or 100s. But we don't know how long we're going to live. I could die tomorrow. We don't know. But strength training really, really helps. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. They are in their 70s and they look really good and they're in good shape and they can walk way better than Dad, you know. And I don't want to say anything bad about Dad, but he didn't do strength training. And I've found often, even Theo Von's dad, the famous guy Theo Von, his dad was really old when he was young, and he had to worry about falling when he would walk around with him when he was growing up, because he was in his 70s, and that's how most men start to be in their 70s. They have to worry if they lose their balance or fall because their legs aren't strong enough. So it's like way better doing strength training. You don't just run, especially if your foot or knee or ankle or anything hurts even a small amount, or you're a little too heavy, or you just ate or something like that. As we get older in our 40s, you can't just go run and jog, you know, it'll hurt. And but you can do the strength training, and it strengthens the bones, the tendons, the joints. It strengthens your elbow, all this in here. It strengthens all that joint, the shoulder, but you have to do it carefully. And you could end up looking really good looking. Like if you lose more fat than I did, I got stressed out. You know, I look okay too, but right now I don't look the best. But I feel awkward trying to look my best talking to my sister or something like that. So but you can look really good as you get older. There are people who have bodies who look like a teenager, who look like a real teenager, who are 72. There's this guy, I can show you a video of him. He's this black guy, and he started working out with weights in his 40s, I think, or 50s, 40s, I think. Yeah, his 40s, because the people in his family were obese and they had diabetes and heart disease because they ate shitty foods, and they would die in their 50s and 60s or be unable to walk and stuff. And he was like, well, this is awful. And he said, how can he change that? So it's not genetic for what he did. He changed his habits where he eats vegan and oatmeal, fruits, plenty of water. Some people may have meat sometimes. You know, you kind of may have meat for the B vitamins. And so he's in really good shape, and he's 72, and he looks like a teenager. His body looks like a teenager. It's amazing. And so it's possible, and well into people's 70s, and he can do like flips and stuff. Or not literally flips, but all this amazing these amazing physical feats that most anyone in their 20s can't even do. Pretty much, you know, most anyone he's like in the top 1% for somebody in their 20s. He's in amazing shape, and he's 72 because he works out with strength training, and he eats really healthy. He doesn't have added sugar and crappy foods. You know, he doesn't have processed foods, so it's possible. And he built up the muscles in his legs, so he didn't get disease like heart disease or diabetes, and he didn't die like the other people in his family who he saw who were all unhealthy. And he did it by changing his habits. And he happens to be black, and it's not from genetics. It's because he changed his habits with stuff like this. And so if you can do strength training and see Scott, the kind of workouts that Scott and Stefan did when they got in really athletic